Arturo Sandoval, welcome and thank you.
Thank you. It's really great to be here with you, Laura, and long time no see, but you and I have known each other for a long, long time, so thanks for having me here.
Thank you. I'm glad that all of our conversations over coffee over the years, now we can share with other people.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
So we're going to go way back. You grew up in Espanola.
Correct.
And you were living here in Albuquerque in 1970 when Dennis Hayes called you and asked you to help organize the nation's first Earth Day. What were you doing here in Albuquerque, and what was that call like?
I was attending UNM. I graduated high school in 1965, so I had attended UNM for a year. I think my first 2 years, and then my mom died, and that took a lot of wind out of my sails, so I took a year off and I became a VISTA volunteer in Guadalupe County for about a year and a half. Then I came back to UNM in the fall of '68. So I was at UNM and I had helped organize the United Mexican American Students at UNM beginning in fall of '68, and I was very active there, and I was very active on campus. And I got a call out of the blue one day from Andy Garling. Actually, he was one of the organizers of Earth Day, and they were looking for someone to organize the Western U.S. And they had a couple of candidates out of the West Coast, UCLA or USC, but I don't think they were happy with them. And they heard about me through one of my college professors at UNM, who said, well, he's a really crackerjack, whatever. He said something good. And so they called me, they interviewed me for about an hour. I didn't know what Earth Day was, but we had that long conversation, maybe an hour on the phone. Then they went off to talk among themselves. Then they called me back and we did another hour, maybe 2 hours on the phone. And then finally we agreed. I said, you know what, this is worth doing. So literally within 3 days, I was on a plane to DC to start organizing Earth Day.
Yeah.
That's how I got involved.
Yeah.
Phone call, 2 phone calls.
When we used to talk on the phone with each other.
That's right.
Back in the day.
When you had landlines.
Yeah. So now, more than a half century later, do you think that the movement was on the right track, went astray? Like, where are we today?
Well, I think it was fantastic movement back in the late 60s and 70s. The Black Civil Rights Movement, the Chicano Civil Rights Movement, the Indigenous Civil Rights Movement, the women's movement for equal rights were all flourishing, and there was an enormous amount of activity, direct action by people. We could organize and protest and actually get results and change things both locally and nationally. So Earth Day had that kind of impact because there was this underlying unease, I think, in the country, but people didn't feel there was any way for them to express their unease at what was happening to the environment. And Earth Day, I think, provided the spark. It was ready to explode, but there needed to be a spark just to get it going. And that's what Earth Day did, and I think that's still the largest single protest event in U.S. history. There was 20 million people at over 10,000 sites. Wow. So it just blew up way beyond what we had hoped to do. And it had big impact. We got the Clean Air Act out of it. We got the Clean Water Act out of it. President Nixon, of all people, created the Environmental Protection Agency. We got the Endangered Species Act. And in the period of the 70s, immediately following Earth Day, in that decade and a half following Earth Day, Congress enacted over 50 major environmental protection laws. So it looked to us at that time, me and the other organizers, that we had made a significant impact and that the environment was going to be in a better place. And for a short period, it was. Yeah. And then something happened over the last 30 years. And what happened was that we ran into an enemy that was much better organized than us, much more disciplined, and that was unfettered capitalism. So unfettered capitalism, the capitalists are very, very disciplined in their approach and their political strategies. They're very, very good at it. They have enormous resources. And what they proceeded to do and where we are today is they have completely suborned the legislative, the judicial, and the executive branches of the federal government. And the problem that can arise with capitalism and that we're facing today in the environment is that if capitalism is unfettered, if there's no balance, if there's no control to try to rein in the excesses, then we end up with what we have today, which is really serious climate change issues. And that's what's happened to this country. So Supreme Court has been completely suborned by capitalism and unfettered capitalism, which is not a good thing for humans and other living things. Same thing with Congress. We read all the time. 3 weeks ago in the New York Times, they wrote a piece about how not just here in the U.S., but globally, the majority of people, for example, want gun control. Certainly in the U.S., the overwhelming majority of Americans want some control here. I mean, we're killing each other like it's going out of style. But despite the fact that there's huge support for it among the populace, we have never gotten any meaningful gun control laws passed. Why? Because the capitalists have completely taken over our electoral systems, the central government that we as local people, as common people, rely on to check, to rein in the excesses of capitalism. Those balances are gone at this point in time, for the most part. I'm probably painting it a little more dire than it actually is, but it's not good.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in serious problem. So back when we were 22-year-olds or 20-year-olds or whatever doing Earth Day, we still thought that we could work within the system and that all we had to do was reform it. Get good people in, elect them to Congress, they'll have good values, and they'll reflect the will of the people. And that did work, I think, through the 1970s to a certain extent, not completely, but to a certain extent, in the 80s. But then since then, we've seen a steady and almost complete erosion of the checks and balances, and that's why we went off the tracks. We're totally off the tracks today.
Yeah, I think in the early 2000s, I interviewed Russell Train, who was an early EPA administrator, and I asked him, do you think that any of these laws could be passed today? And he said, no, because as soon as the lobbyists didn't know what was happening at that moment, and now, the lobbyists are lined up making sure that things don't happen. So I mean, your experience, your analysis is dire, but I think it's completely spot on.
And what's happened, as I say, capitalists are very smart. So now if you look at, there's 139 countries that are going to be participating in this year's Earth Day, and that's probably 1.2 billion people across the globe. But despite that, what's happened is the major polluters, whoever they are, Exxon, you could go on all day naming them, they just took over Earth Day. So they say they're green. They claim to be very eco-friendly, and they run ads saying how friendly they are and how eco-friendly, and they have their staff in Chevron t-shirts out planting trees to show, but they're destroying the planet. While they're doing this, 98% of the time they're completely destroying the planet. Yeah. With extractive industries and what else. So they're very smart in how they co-opt. Capitalism's great at co-opting any threat to its existence. And that's what happened with the environmental movement. So yes, we're going to have 1.2 billion people participating in one form or another. Some people might just be picking up trash. Others might be doing something much more significant. But despite that, we're still not making headway to change the excesses of capitalism around the globe.
Yeah. I'm going to shift gears just a little bit. We're going to come back to this conversation, but locally. So here in New Mexico, over the decades, you have done so much work: civil rights, economic development, agriculture, culture. We could do an entire series on the work that you've done over the decades, but I'd like to talk about two of the current projects at the Center of Southwest Culture, which you founded, related to gardening and bike riding. If you would talk about those two programs and why they're so important.
Well, let me start with our bike riding program. That was an idea. I had a young man who kept coming to me with ideas for wanting to do something, especially with children of color, indigenous and Mexicano, Chicano kids, starting here in Albuquerque, because he was working in the school system, and he saw that the after-school programs tended to just warehouse the kids. So they were having long, long days waiting for their parents to pick them up at 5 or 5:30 after school let out at 2:30 or 3. So he finally came up with this idea of saying, what if we get them active? You know, let's get them on bicycles. Let's teach them how to repair bikes. Let's teach them how to build bikes. And then let's build a curriculum that is really sort of STEAM-based, but it's through a completely cultural lens. So it's indigenous viewpoint, it's a Mexicano, Chicano viewpoint of science and math and all of that. So we teach them how to ride bikes, we teach them how to repair bikes, build bikes. Then we take them out for rides in the bosque here in Albuquerque, and we have curanderas waiting for them to talk about medicinal and traditional herbs and their uses in our community over the centuries. And then we have scientists that come down and meet them in the bosque also and talk to them about the hydrology and the drainage of the Rio Grande Basin and what does that mean and what is hydrology. And then we have great artists that do found art. They go in and build art pieces with natural materials that are in the bosque, beautiful, and we take pictures of those. And then the kids come back and write that up. They write up what did they learn, what did they like about what they learned. And then at the end of the program, they invite their parents, and the parents go out, and the kids each teach their parents something they learned. So some kids like to talk about the herbs, they'll talk to their parents about it. And then when the program's over, each child and each parent gets a free bike from our program. So it's a great program, and another part of that Story Writers program is, we call it Adelitas. It's for Mexican women, it's for women and their daughters. Because globally we know that most bicycling that's done outside of the U.S. is done by mostly men who use the bikes to go to work, etc. And women tend to be homebound because they don't have a way to get around. So we're teaching Mexicana immigrants how to ride bikes, and we teach them bike safety. We do the same thing with them, and at the end of the program, they take their own bike home, and we hope they don't run into any light posts. But so that's a really great program because it's so joyful. It's great for the kids, and we just love the impact it's having on our families. Another great program is our backyard gardening program, which is called Sembrando Salud. So this year we'll have 3,200 people around the state participating in backyard gardens. So the idea was one of our economic development division programs is we're trying to create rural economies and recreate local economies that have sort of atrophied into transfer economies. Mm-hmm. So there's really nothing going on that create any kind of income or wealth for people. So the long result of that is those communities die, and these are land-based traditional, and the pueblos have trouble with that also. So we had some farmers selling at farmers markets, and I noticed when I went that it was very expensive. If you buy locally organic, it's not subsidized by the federal government like agribusiness is, so they get subsidized to a huge extent, so that's why it's cheaper for us to buy those vegetables than it is locally grown. So I noticed that none of our people were buying at these farmers markets, primarily because of the price barrier. So it occurred to me that why don't we just eliminate the middleman and go straight to growing our own. So we have these 3,200 people this year will be growing organic vegetables. We provide the seeds, we provide the drip system, we provide soil enhancers to get them started. We teach them how to plant, what companion planting is. We teach them how to compost. We teach them how to harvest seeds before they eat everything, let some of them go to seed. And it's just great results because it gets kids away from always being on the iPad, and the dad gets off from watching the TV or whatever, and the family really starts rebuilding their bonds. It's been a beautiful thing to see, but they're eating healthy, and they're actually saving money on their food budget, and we're tracking this. We're doing evaluations of this to actually see what are those savings, and they're becoming very significant. So yeah, we're very, very proud of both of those programs.
Yeah, I love both of those programs because, like you said, they're joyful. When we're talking about these like big, huge issues, it's nice to remember that on the ground, on wheels, in our gardens, joyfulness is a part of all of this work.
And really the point of what the work we do at the center, Laura, isn't just to program to do these programs, but there's real values behind it, and that is we want to get our communities to become as self-sufficient as possible. So we're trying to build small silos of complete circles, small economic circles that are self-sustaining, so that if another pandemic comes, when the first one hit, people went to the stores and there were shortages for a while. Beans and rice were gone. Certainly toilet paper couldn't be found. So what we're trying to do is create the capacity, especially in rural New Mexico communities, to be able to grow their own food, and then out of learning how to do that and work collectively to do that, then how can then they take on the local school district to make definite changes? How do they impact their county commission and say, we haven't had our roads paved in 40 years, what's going on here? So we're trying to empower our own communities, and our hope is that we keep building these small little drops that eventually become a little stream and maybe eventually become a river.